Yes, please.
Do what you do.
I'll make a motion to call the order.
I'll second the motion.
Go for it. Helps Ron.
What do you got, Dan?
All right, so here's what we got. Pretty quick tonight. Programming wise, we start, well, yesterday was the last day of registration for the esports league. We ended up having 35 kids in total register, which is really good for the first time in only a month of getting this off the ground. We had 19 elementary students register for Fortnite. We had 5 register for the Super Smash Brothers. We had 2 sign up for FIFA, which looks like it's going to be canceled because we were the only town that had anybody sign up for FIFA. We needed a minimum of 4. And we had 1 sign up for Madden 21. Again, one other town had 1 person register. We need a minimum of 4 amongst the 6 towns involved. I think that's right, 5 or 6. And it just didn't, we didn't get enough. So it looks like we're going to have to cancel, but we are waiting another few days to make that decision. Because if somebody happens to come up the last minute, we'll accept them.
That's to make it cost effective?
That's just the company's minimum number to run it. So they needed 4 for each league within each game.
Gotcha.
So it's unfortunate, but this is kind of the new thing right now. I think going forward, something like this will run well. It just isn't going to run this time. And overall, you know, again, in this league was Reading, Wakefield, Arlington, Woburn, and Billerica. So five communities. For FIFA, there was only the 2 who signed up at the elementary level. We had them both. For Fortnite, 70 total kids registered for that. For Madden, only the 2, and for Super Smash Brothers, 18. So pretty good numbers for the first time around. And then at the middle school, high school level, we had 6 register for Fortnite and 2 sign up for the Super Smash Brothers. Both of those are going to run. 33 total from the 5 towns for Fortnite, 10 total for the Super Smash Brothers. And then amongst the other communities, 4 kids signed up for the Madden. So those are the games that are going to run this 6-week session. The games do start next week. And it should be fun. It's exciting. You know, the group that we work with is very organized. They're definitely on top of things. We send them our registrations. They tell us who has registered through them. So we just make sure that we're in constant communication. And the 5 partnering towns have really been a blessing to work with. We all got on the same page. We were all sending out the same message to everybody. And this is something that's going to be big going forward for us. Any questions about the esports?
Not necessarily about the esports, Dan, but do you think there will be opportunities to leverage the relationships with other towns for other type of programs going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, all of us are in the same boat. We're all, you know, admittedly struggling. We all want to make sure that we can have enough programming and participants to run it. So I can see some sort of a blend. There's a natural fit with Reading because, well, I work there and I now live there. But I also know the directors quite well. So I can see some sort of natural symmetry there. I also see going forward us getting involved with Stoneham, who's, you know, an up-and-coming department. They started after we did. And with Melrose. Melrose director lives in Wakefield. He's a great guy, Frank Oliveri. I see some symmetry there as well with what he does and what we do. I can see a lot of programming kind of expanding in that direction.
Great. That's nice to hear.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Any other questions? And I can't see your hands raised because, again, I'm flying through screens to see who's where. So just honestly, just speak up in this case. Nothing? All right. So we'll move forward. As far as other programming, we still have Wakefield Academy. That's fired right back up. We have 42 kids for the morning session. We have 48 in the afternoon. Again, it's not necessarily 42 at any given time or 48 any given time. There's a max of 40 per day at each of those time frames. Kids are great kids. The staff they're working really hard and they're fun to work with. So the partnership so far is still really going well. I will say that we've got 5 more months ahead of us. So, you know, things can go off the rails pretty quick, but I don't really foresee that happening. So it's still a give and take. We're learning and feeling each other out, but it's been fun. And I see some more symmetry with Wakefield Academy going forward that we could do. and piggyback off of one another. Obviously, they have their strengths. I think we have ours. I think there's a natural meld at some point. So we'll see how all that goes. Questions about Academy?
So I do. So you're saying this summer we're going to run our own program though, right? We're not going to use them?
Yeah, we're not going to use them, but I, what they do is a lot of enrichment type stuff. They don't necessarily do daycare, which is what I look at our strength. So I could see them having, and again, in the past, I don't know what this summer will look like for them. In the past, they've done just 9 to noon. We've always offered, 7:30 to 5:30. So I can see their kids who need the extra time come to us. And that's how we've laid it out. That's how it's always worked. So our numbers in the afternoon, we might have 40 kids in the morning, but then we have 85 in the afternoon. So, and we're staffed for that. We're ready to do that. I see that happening. The big question will be, and I don't know the answer right now, are we going to have access to the schools? The hope is yes. The thought is we should. But who knows? Does this epidemic, explode again? Does the British variant or whatever they're calling it, go crazy? I don't know. So fingers crossed, we're hoping because we need it. Any other questions about it? No. Okay. Civic Center wise, things are going pretty well there. Obviously, it's just the Academy kids who are in with us during the days. At night, we do have some renters in, which is great right now. We've been able to rent to a lot of Wakefield organization. I'm going to call them travel basketball teams. I don't know where they're playing, but they have, no more than 15 kids in the gym. I did get permission to have up to 25 in the gym from the Board of Health and from Tom Walsh, who's our emergency management director. So they all know the guidelines. They're all following the guidelines. I'll give these coaches a lot of credit. I get a lot of texts or emails from them. Hey, somebody on our team this weekend, tested positive, was a close contact. We're not coming this week. And that is so refreshing and welcoming because I see it on my daughter's dance here in Reading. They have kids whose parents are being tested and they're sending their kids to dance anyways. And things are getting shut down. Reading Gymnastics Association over in Wilmington was shut down for like 3 weeks because somebody went there with COVID and it spread like wildfire. So our people in Wakefield are doing a great job. They're telling me what's going on and they're doing the right things. So I can't say enough good things about them. Gym time is pretty booked up Monday through Friday. And then Saturdays are a little low right now, but I don't think that's the worst thing. It gives staff to go in their time to do a deep clean. Sunday's a little bit busier again. So we're getting revenues in for rentals, which is great. And again, I'd say 98% of them are Wakefield groups. I think I have one Melrose group who asked for a Friday night at 7:30, which nobody else ever wanted. So it's kind of a boon for us.
Do you anticipate anything other than youth groups like men's hoop? Are they going to be able to start up anytime soon?
I got to talk to emergency management and the Board of Health about that just to see where we're at. Because again, guidelines change all the time. We go from step 3, phase 2 to step 3, phase 1 in an instant. My goal is to get the adults back. I'm going to obviously let the kids finish out the what I have rented through, which is really about the second week in March. And then if we're in a position where we can get the adults back in, that's the ultimate goal. We want those guys back. It's I say guys because that's who's renting the gym right now. They're a great group of people. They're easy to work with. My only concern, and it's not with all groups, so some of them is who's coming from where. Right now, I definitely want to try and limit some of it. I'd like to keep it as close to Wakefield, Reading, Melrose, Stoneham. I'd like to kind of keep it centralized because I know there's a few groups who have people who come from Haverhill. They come from, New Hampshire, and there's not anything wrong with that. In this day and age, I just want to be overly cautious. So I'll have to find out what Board of Health and Emergency Management says because I take their opinions extremely seriously. They know what's going on much better than I do. Anything else? No. All right. So on to field scheduling. And yes, we're starting to look at field scheduling because I happened to email Brendan Kent today, the Wakefield High AD, and I want to know what the plan was for high school fall 2 sports. So high school fall 2 sports includes, and bear with me because I'm reading off of his email, will include football, volleyball, girls swimming, boys and girls indoor track, cheer, and dance. So football is supposed to start February 22nd and runs through April 22nd. Now, obviously, a lot of that is weather permitting. A lot of that is obviously COVID dependent. I just want to get a gauge as to what we're looking at. So they meet every few weeks, they being the Middlesex League ADs, superintendents, and principals. And it does sound like as long as weather holds out and things are the way they are right now, football has a good chance of running. And that's obviously the only sport there that I need to worry about getting a field for. And getting them a field is going to be very easy because nobody's using the field at that time, at least in February and March. Well, come April, and I already know this because soccer asked today, youth soccer, when can we get on fields? Well, I don't know. Is my answer all the time this time of year? Tell me what the snow looks like. So they want to get on early, and according to the Essex League, which youth soccer plays in, they want to have a regular schedule. So we are trying to figure out who, what, when, where, wise. And of course, then after the fall 2 season ends, well, spring starts up for high school. And in the spring season, we are going to have baseball, softball, boys and girls track, boys and girls tennis, boys and girls lacrosse, and wrestling. Wrestling is moving outside. It's going to be on a field. So that's another hurdle that somehow we have to clear. And again, make sure that our youth are able to get on the field at a decent time. That's always been my concern, is that the youth kids get on no later than 6 o'clock. And because, my personal opinion is, I don't think a 10-year-old or 12-year-old should be out until 9:30, 10 o'clock at a practice. That's time to homework, wind down, get to bed. Does that happen? No, it doesn't happen in my own house, but that's the ideal thing. I'm not gonna sit there and say that my 12-year-old isn't up until 11:30. She is sometimes, but if ideally she's winding down at 10. Okay, we're in a good position. So I try to operate from that standpoint when it comes to field scheduling. So it's just another hurdle that we're gonna have to clear. And Brendan, again, this is just new today. Brendan and I will work our way through it and figure out what's best and do what's in the best interest of the high school kids and of course the youth. But there's a lot there.
Dan, sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
It's Julie. With the fall 2 and the spring seasons, are those sports from the high school, are they running 5-6 days a week, or are they running schedule?
They are not. So they can only practice 3 days a week at the varsity level. They practice 2 days a week at the JV level. So, or at the sub-varsity level, I should call it. I don't know if they're going to do, varsity do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and JV would do Tuesday, Thursday. That we don't know yet. That's one of the things we're trying to figure out. And then the big hurdle is all games on weekends. So games on Saturday. And that creates an issue, I'm sure, for soccer. So, but this is going to be a thing for all communities. I mean, this isn't just a Wakefield thing. This is every high school in Massachusetts is falling under these same guidelines. So it's a hurdle that everybody's going to need to overcome. And of course, I'm getting requests up the yin yang for soccer space from outside groups for field hockey, lacrosse, and I haven't even gotten the Wakefield lacrosse ones yet. So it's a lot. I don't want to overpromise anybody and underdeliver. So
Dan?
Brendan and I need to take our time and figure this out and do it right.
And Dan, this is Bob. I got a question.
Yep. Sure.
Does soccer play? Do any of the sports, the spring sports that are being played, are any of them besides baseball and softball being played on grass fields, or is everything like soccer and lacrosse all turf?
Everything else is turf.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that's going to be the case for wrestling too. I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't know what the thought plan.
I thought they would be putting, I'm not kidding. I'm not joking about this, but I thought they'd be like putting mats down in a parking lot or something.
I think they're going to put them on a field, but I don't know. You know, this is uncharted territories we are in, and
Yeah. Brave new world.
it's a brave new world. Yep.
And in case if there is snow in February, which has been predicted for quite some time,
Sure.
what that in the age of that field, Landrigan I'm talking about, how is the snow going to be removed from there? I mean, is it
Great
equipment?
question.
Is it?
I can tell you. So, the year that we got 100 inches in February, it wasn't that long ago, but I can't remember what year it was.
Right.
I do remember that year, Dennis plowed Landrigan Field. And I remember after he did it, he said, I'll never do that again.
Well, that was 5 years ago. So that
Okay.
field is now 5 years older.
Right. I don't, Gene, I don't know the answer to that.
They also, there was that one year that it snowed on Thanksgiving, so they couldn't play on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And they had to play afterwards, and they somehow cleared the field.
Yep.
Do you have one of those
That-
brush machines?
One of which machines?
It's like a rolling brush.
Like they sweep streets
have
with
one.
it.
But
Yeah,
if,
yeah. I've
if
seen.
you have that much snow and it's the heavy compacted stuff, I don't think it's going to do anything.
Yeah, true. I guess you got to be out there when if I'm thinking a late February storm is not going to be 6 inches, but if it's an inch or so, you could maybe.
Well,
do it. I don't
Right.
The other thing too is February is historically the big month for snow.
Yep. So it's going to be very interesting. I don't know what the answer is going to be. I obviously err on the side of caution with almost everything in just in daily life too. I always sit there and say it's not my money that paid for those fields. It's the taxpayers' money that paid for those fields, and to replace those fields would be another huge cost. So I wouldn't do it, but that's not going to be my decision. I will have an input in it, but I'm sure it won't be my final decision.
Because there was initial concern when the field was put
sure.
down of the rubber coming up like all artificial, fields.
Yep.
And so if you use any kind of machine on it that on a field that's now, whatever it is, 10 years old or whatever.
Yep.
That's a problem. And it could be a health issue for the players on the field.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well,
Again,
yes,
these are the hurdles.
Maybe Dennis has an idea. Maybe since then he's looked into it and he's found some alternatives. Ways for removing snow from turf, because we can't be the only ones.
Oh God, no. There's. I mean, and you have to think other towns aren't going to have turf fields. They're going to have grass fields. I don't think anybody's going to go plow a grass field. My
Right.
guess is that week is just canceled, and then see what happens. Is there any melting? What goes on?
Thank you.
Dan,
It's
you
gonna be
know,
interesting. Yep.
colleges have to deal with this all the time too, because you got to figure, their spring sports like lacrosse, they're in season all, in February, so they're plowing fields and stuff. So maybe consulting a few local colleges and
Absolutely, it's a great
what
idea,
it
Julie.
would do.
Yep. I know a few people at a few schools that I can contact. We've built a good rapport at the department with Tufts specifically, just because a lot of their softball coaches done a clinic with us. Their field hockey's done some stuff with us. So, and I think the softball coach is also the associate AD. So I have a connection there, and I'll reach out and see what they say. Anything else on fields?
Oh,
Right.
no, nothing. Never mind.
Go ahead, Bob. We're here.
No. I just was having a brain fart. Sorry.
And then I am doing planning for summer right now, because that's the all important season for us. Looks like we are going to have about 74 programs all summer in total, unique programs. So ones that are totally different from one another. That'll be about 26. So 26 unique programs, 74 overall. So some obviously have multiple weeks. Still in the early stages of it. Nothing's set in stone yet, but we're off to a really good start. And the goal has always been for me, map what we had planned out for last year, because I didn't get to do that. I was really excited about last summer's programming. So we're hoping to bring all of that back and expand upon that a little bit. One of the things that I have talked to specifically the enrichment classes that I'm working with is I want to make sure that they have a virtual option. Should we fall into the category that we did last year, and of course, none of us could have anticipated what happened this year. Okay, well, we can reasonably anticipate that now. So if we have a class lined up, what does the online option of that look like? And all the vendors that I've worked with said, we've been doing that. We're ready to roll it out. So, one class that we're offering, rocket science through Wicked Cool Science for Kids. Well, they can't offer rocket science, but they have an online alternative that's close to it. So that's what we're planning for, and that's what we're looking at. Obviously, the sports one, are borderline impossible unless they're in person, but some of them might be able to make some alternatives. So we are working through that. And then I got dealt a little bit of a curveball last week, and me personally got dealt a little bit of a curveball. I've been working with Soccer Shots for Tots for the last several years, and I thoroughly enjoy working with them. Well, their GM left the company, and I don't know why. I haven't heard from him. Like I said, I was caught very off guard by that. So I hopefully have a virtual meeting with the new GM next week. We're going to try it. We'll see how it works. I do have another vendor for that age level, and that's the Tots. I do have another vendor lined up in case it doesn't pan out as I hope it will. I don't like to switch if I don't need to. They've done well by us. They've become a known name for us. I don't always like the change in GMs because I went through that with Super Soccer Shots for years. They had 3 different GMs within 2.5 years. I like continuity with knowing who I'm working with. So if there's a problem, that's the one I go to. But I'll give them a shot and see how it goes. So that's a little curveball that we were dealt with, but it's nothing that we haven't dealt with before. It's just I had a very good, close relationship with this one. So I was surprised. And I still haven't been able to get in touch with him just to make sure he's okay. That again, the relationship wasn't just business, it became personal. And I check in with him to see how things are going during the pandemic. He checked in with me. So when I found out he was gone from the new GM, to say my jaw hit the floor would be an understatement. So that's where we're at that. And then one final note, and specifically for Annie, Todd, and Chris. I know Todd and Chris aren't here, so Annie, I'm going to speak this one to you. If you plan on coming back for your to be reappointed, and I hope you do, get your information over to Sherry as soon as you can.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have her email. It's been sitting in my inbox. I know I need to get on that, but I do plan to reapply. Thank you.
Yeah, and this, and as you guys who have been through this before know, the kind of the rules for all this change a lot. And Sherry, God bless her, is always moving with how it's done. We got reminders now as to whose term was up. I actually knew because I had it pinned over my desk, but I didn't know what the time frame was. Get it over to her sooner the better, because again, I'm somebody who likes continuity, and Annie, I can speak to you since you're here. I value your opinions, bring a lot to the table for me. You have that young mom perspective that we hadn't had really in a while. So you're at the playgrounds, what's being said, what's going on. I find that invaluable. So please make sure you reapply.
Okay, I definitely will, and I'll include you when I send it over to her within the next couple of days. Thank you.
And I'll reach out to Todd and Chris too to give them the reminders that their terms are up, and again, we like to see everybody back for as long as they want to be back. So that is all I have. I don't know if you guys have any questions, concerns, or otherwise for me.
Dan, you didn't mention it, but the flag football program, is that on hiatus here because of COVID?
Well, it's a good question. We only do that in the fall.
Okay.
So I only do it in the fall. I know that they'd like to do a spring season. I come from the physical education background in Springfield College, where I went to school, and one thing that we were taught was peak fun. And peak fun is when the game becomes its absolute highest and the best. You stop it because you want the kids to keep coming back and keep enjoying it. So I only offer it one season, so people get I want to come back, I want to do it. Now, I will say this: field space is tight in spring. That's always a concern for us. I'd have to be very creative to make that work. And then the other thing is, I do have another group who's Wakefield centric, who have approached me about potentially putting together a flag football program. So, we had North Shore flag football a few years ago, and we went with SNL. They had come before you guys, made a presentation, and it was the right call. This other group is looking to do something similar. They think they can do it better than SNL. They're Wakefield centric. I'm not beholden to anybody. So, I think at some point we may bring them in, but I need to see a proposal from them first. I don't have that. And I know the guys, and I enjoy working with them all. I've dealt with many of them for several years in different capacities. I don't know that the proposal will necessarily come in. I know they called me up to pitch it, and I said, you got to give it to me all in writing. We can talk about it till blue in the face until I can see something concrete. It means nothing. So I'm waiting for that. I gave them a time frame. I said I need it by, I want to say I said end of April at the latest. So they got time, but they need to get on it. So that could come down the road where we have another group who's pitching to us. Which vendor do we want to use? And I think there's pros and cons to everybody. This is what works best for us. Any other questions? No?
Nope.
Nope.
All right.
So
Puck-
when,
Puck drop is in 1 minute, Dan.
Listen, it's up to you, buddy. You got to make the call. I'm just here.
If you're looking for something to do tonight, tune in to WCAT. Watch the Wakefield Warriors take on, I don't even know who they're playing tonight, up at Soda Marina.
They play Burlington.
Puck drop is at 7:30. 33 in the net. He's a nice little kid. Root for him.
Just do your thing, Jed. Make your motion.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second,
yep, all in favor?
Aye.
I.
Aye.
Aye.